Hey, welcome back to the channel. Got a new tool for the shop. First, I got to tell you, my wife is absolutely wonderful. I always try to take her out at least once or twice a week on date nights. And we generally like to stop by Harbor Freight while we're out. We both enjoy looking at tools and everything in Harbor Freight. Well, my wife gives me a hard time that she can never find anything to get me for like Christmas or birthdays or whatever, because if I see something I need, I generally go ahead and get it. Well, we went into Harbor Freight a couple of weeks ago. We both went our separate ways when we went in, and I was standing there looking at a floor-sized, big Bauer drill press, and she snuck up on me. She's like, "You need that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it'd be real handy. I'll get one sometime because my little tabletop drill press is getting pretty old." And she's like, "Don't buy it." And I'm like, okay. I was like, "Not a problem. You're scaring me. I'm not going to buy it." Well, last Friday, we'd planned on going out. She comes home, tosses me an envelope full of cash and says, "We going to go to Home Depot tonight?" So yeah, we stopped at Home Depot, got the drill press. Yeah, she is absolutely awesome. So right now we're going to get this thing opened up, get it stood up, take a look at it. I checked these out online after I looked at it in the store. It's the 17-inch model variable speed Bauer drill press, and it had like almost perfect reviews. Everybody just loved it. And I also picked up the 6-inch double slide vise while I was there, so they'd probably do some light milling work on this. And I know some of you have been wanting me to get back to building or making videos on the airplane, and this will definitely get used on some airplane stuff. So let's get it unboxed. I'd say we probably would have come back with it that first night I saw it if we hadn't been in the Corvette. There's no way this would have fit in there. Instructions. Got a table. Man, that thing is heavy duty. Drill chuck. And there's the unit set out in the box. So we're going to put this over in the far corner of the shop over there by the plans. So take the parts out and probably assemble it over there. Not too much stuff in the shop. Woo! Thank you, buddy. Now it's on there.
That's a big drill.
I know. Yeah, the instructions said to use an assistant to put that top on there. They weren't kidding. All right, next step's pretty important. Your arbor is tapered on both ends, one for the chuck, one to go up into the drill. Make sure to clean all these surfaces, degrease them up in here, the taper, both tapers, and inside the chuck. This has a drive flat on it, so you slide it up in there and then turn it to where it goes on up. Once it's in there, give it a couple of whacks with a rubber mallet that will seat the taper. Run your chuck jaws all the way up inside. Make sure this is clean. Slide it on. Same deal. Now, nothing should go anywhere. Hopefully. Yeah, I thought I was missing a piece. And I was. Switch don't work. This ended up, it was apparently in there during shipping, but when I pulled the plastic off this head unit, this came off and ended up in the trash. So I had to fish that bag out. So make sure you're not missing your little yellow piece there, because that locks in and turns it on. Okay, your controls on it, you've got the normal swivel on the table. You also can crank it up and down. This will loosen here. You can pivot the table however you need it. But you pull that pin, loosen that nut, and you can pivot the table to whatever angle you need. Up here you have a drill stop. You push that button, you can move it up and fine tune it. And then that will limit your depth. And this thing is adjust on the fly. Here, let me take the top off. Inside the top here, you've got an assembly like a snowmobile pulley or a Polaris four-wheeler. So you can change your speed on the fly. And you also have a high and low range here that you can change by slipping the V-belt from one pulley to another. Okay, we'll go over something interesting here that's not in the instruction. Before that, we'll go ahead and cover the other features of it. This thing does have, look at that, a laser. Once you get that set, that should be where those two lines cross, should be exactly where the drill bit comes down. So that'll help getting stuff lined up. And it also has a light for when you start getting older like me and can't see real well. That'll come in real handy. All right, now, the deal that we run into just now is that it talks about the speed settings, turning the handle, changing the speed while it's moving, which with this variable pulley style system makes sense, but it doesn't say anything about the V-belt drive. And it just says nothing about it. And this is full speed the way it is now, and it's supposed to be getting up close to 3,000 RPM. Now, as you run this handle down, it slows down like it should, gets down close to 300. And you can watch the belt change, which is really nice to be able to change the speed on the fly. But you're still missing part of your RPM range. Now, the belt here is still fairly tight, and your engine or your motor is all the way up against the housing already. And it was talking about just tensioning the belt with this, but nothing about changing it for the different speeds or anything. So you've got a thumb screw here that you loosen. And you've also got one on this side that you loosen. And you can't get any more slack in the belt because this bracket is up against the frame. You don't hold this camera, Davis? You can see. So what I did was you just kind of got to derail the belt off the big pulley. My jacked up hand's not helping much here. Okay, once it slides up onto the small driven pulley, then it's easy to get it up on the larger drive pulley. And now you have a bunch of slack. So you can go in and turn this handle like this, and you see the slack up in the belt. That moves the motor back. And you can tighten that. You see, we got a pretty good gap there. Belt's tight again. Tighten up this side. Now when we fire it up, Now we're up close to $3,000. And then in this higher range, drops down to like 820. But it's just kind of weird that it didn't mention anything about that in the instructions. It's not hard to figure out once I figured out for sure that I wasn't gonna get any more slack in the belt. That was what I was trying to do, was figure out how I was supposed to get enough slack to change that belt, but you basically just have to kind of muscle it off there. Now the belt ends up stretching a little bit over time. It'll be easier to do, and it's not hard to get it to go back the other way. But yeah, it just doesn't say anything about it in the instructions. Let your drill stop. Yeah, short of the problem with the instructions, I am real happy with it. It's got screw holes on the bottom where you could mount it to the floor, but doesn't feel like it's ever going to fall over unless you really work at it. So I'm happy with it. And I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot more of it as I work on stuff for the airplane and all the rest of my toys. Happy birthday, Junior.
Thank you.
He's all of 22 today? 22 years old. He's getting old. All right, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.